Only faith can guarantee the blessings that we hope for, or prove the existence of the realities that at present remain unseen. Okwukwe bụ mmasị obi ike banyere ngọzi ndị a na-ele anya ha, ma ọ bụ ihe ndị were anya na ha dị ma anaghị ahụ ha anya. Otito dịrị Jesu. My dear friends, on a Sunday like this, when so many points, themes are packed into the readings, there is the temptation for the preacher to spend hours explaining or applying these readings to our lives. And my gwagdo no nwere boshi fada jagbri ho gogo maka mas nwere boshi ụka ogburi ogokota gburi oje gome akwụkwọ ndị ọzọ kpeme ekpere na chapel gachukwu ji aga gwama ihe a ji agwa ndị ụka ma ọ hụgo maka na o nwere ihe ọgụgụ gị ji agụgburu ị ga-ama egete iji aka aka, ma o nwere ndị ji agụgburu ihe a ji ekwu ju mbe lile ị ga-ama ego mbe ji ebido na mbe ji akwụsị dịga nke ntọnwụ. And you know, usually in the ordinary Sundays, the Sundays in the ordinary time of the year, the first reading and the gospel go together, as I explained to you. Today, it is rather the second reading, the letter to the Hebrews, that I want to use to explain and to apply the gospel to our lives. Maka na ebe m kwuru okwu nke Chukwu tata gbadoro ụkwụ bụ okwukwe, faith. It is on the issue of faith, the virtue of faith, that I see all the reflections of the readings today grounded. Okwukwe bụ onyinye mmụọ Chukwu ji eme ọgọ ke na-enyere anyị aka ikwerenụ yara ịtụ uche ọbụla n'ife Chukwu egosina. Faith is the supernatural gift of God that enables us to believe without doubting whatever God has revealed. Anyị gara na catechism. Ajụmagụgụ na kpatara ịga na-eji na-ekwu ihe ọbụla Chukwu gosiri. Isi na ihe kpatara ịga na-eji na-ekwu ihe ọbụla Chukwu gosiri bụ maka na Chukwu bụ onye eziokwu ahụ, ọ marafu nata mmadụ, nke mmadụ na-eme gịnị, nke mmadụ na-arafu ya. Why must you believe everything that God has revealed? It is because God is the truth himself, who can never deceive nor be deceived. Agri ahom agri jigde mba biazara bekwie. How do you know what God has revealed? Kediki gesi mai he Chukwu gosiri through the witness, the teaching, and the life and celebrations of the Catholic Church. Site na ama na nkuzi na ọrụ nke nzukọ nsọ Catholic. And where do you find those? Kedebi ga afọdụ ihe ndị a asị na ife bụ ife Chukwu gosigara Dinebe no kukwende apostle, because there our faith is summarized. But then, na imbala isitile. Makanihe ikiri faith, or the simple, or the complicated. Tenkem ja kantabe nwuru beri. Because faith is not an easy thing to explain. And the history of the church is the same thing as the history of our understanding of faith. But if we go from the letter to the Hebrews, that first sentence of chapter 11, only faith can guarantee the blessings that we hope for, or prove the existence of the realities that at present remain unseen. Inechere anya gende banye ndo kanyi je bundu okukwe kita. Ogadige okukwe bụ ihe anyị mamaram no je me. Ime ihe a mee ihe a n'iji enweta ihe a. Ka bụ ihe a mara no je me. 2 plus 2 equals 4. If you put fire in petrol, it will burn. Sometimes we behave as if, for us, faith is the guarantee that whatever we do now will give a certain consequence. We already see it. It's not about the unseen. It is about what we know, what we see. But before then, we have a difficulty. Faith is a gift. Okukwe bụ onyinye. Then the question is, why is it that not everybody has faith? Ihe ọ bụ na okukwe bụ onyinye, gịnị mere na ụfọdụ enweghị okwukwe? Light is a gift, but some houses are dark. Ihe bụ onyinye Chukwu nyere mmadụ niile, mana o nwere ụlọ iji epiere ọ ga-agbara ọchịchị. What caused it? Mmadụ jiri rịga ụlọ ya. The gift of faith is available to everybody, but not everybody accepts it. And not everybody accepts it in the same degree. That is why we really have no excuse. Ebe ọ bụ na ọ bụ onyinye Chukwu nyere ọhalle, mana ọ bụghị ọhalle nabatara ya, onye ga-anabataghị ya asịgị na enyedighị ya bụ onyinye. In this chapter 11 of the letter to the Hebrews gives a long list of examples of people who lived by faith within the believing people of Israel. But bidoro from Abel. The example started from Abel, even though the one we had from the reading today started from Abraham. Abel, Enoch, Noah, Abraham, Moses, and all Isaac, Jacob, Moses, all the other people who lived by faith, not knowing from their human point of view whether what they were promised would happen, but trusting in God. That is why he says faith and hope here go together. Faith guarantees the blessings we hoped for. Olilanya, okwukwe, nchekwube, jikọrọ ọnụ. Abraham, mgbe Chukwu kpọrọ Abraham, or even Abel, and Noah. When Abel offered sacrifice to God, he offered the best he had without expecting any reward. As a matter of fact, what it brought to him was death. Abel had no way of knowing the result of his action, but he was sure that what he did would be pleasing to God, and it was, the Bible tells us. When God called Abraham, Abraham had no guarantee that where he was going existed. Mgbe Chukwu kpọrọ Abraham, ọ maghị mgbe o jeko, ma o nweghị na-ehuje agwa ya na Chukwu bụ onye kwesịrị ntụkwasị obi. Unlike his descendants, ndị niile soteziri Abraham could look at the life of Abraham and say, if God did this for our father, he will also do it for us. Their own faith was based on the faith of Abraham, but Abraham's faith was based on nothing. He left his country, followed God. The translation Agana, even Sarah had faith. Okukwe Sarah no okukwe nke Abraham abugana. Makana Sarah as gedego gere onwere udoro chọchịrị. And ọchị ahụ abụghị ọchị onye nwere okwukwe. Sarah asịrị onye mgbe ọ nụrụ na ya jekoje atụ ime, ọ nọrọ mgbe ọ nọsụ ndị ọmụ, ị na-eme ine onwe gị. And they heard it. But if she had no faith at all, that promise would not have been fulfilled. Sarah and Abraham gave birth to Isaac in their old age. Abraham was promised, through this son of your old age, you will give birth to a great nation. And at a point, he was told to sacrifice the same Isaac. If you are in the dark and you hear somebody's voice, and you know that voice, you don't know where to put your legs, your feet. But you know that in front of you, right and left, there is danger. And the voice in front says, "Come, I am here." Imekete je right or left, ne dalaga ne trouble. Manola hanonihu na segabia inga home bi jeko. So ihe to kwasoro bebo ulu oina segabia. I wonder whether that is what we call faith today. Many of the things we do today that we call faith, I always say it, we do it as if it were an investment for immediate reward in this life. All these concepts of sowing seed. Ikonubo Chineke ka Chineke na akonubo nke gị. All these concepts, they are business concepts of investment. The only thing really God promises us, none of us is sure it will come until the end of our life. It is the guarantee of things we hope for, blessings we do not yet see. Ihe ọbụla anyị nwetakwere n'ụwa abụghị ya bụ ihe Chukwu kwere anyị na nkwa ma ọ bụrụ na anyị edebe iwu ya. Ọ bụ eziokwu na Jesu gwara ndị apọstụl ya na ha ga-enweta ụgwọ n'ụwa ọzọ, mana a ga-eji ụfọdụ ihe kwụọ ha ụgwọ n'ụwa. But the Bible tells us today, the letter to the Hebrews, that all the people named died without seeing what they were promised. Abraham now, his children hadn't become a great nation. Yet he believed. So it's not a question of this faith. My God has never failed me, because I remember come see you. Come see you. Onwere nwanne m mụtara nwa gama ka m si. Mgbe nke ọzọ sịrị aha eji anyị ha eri ọdụkwa gị ejima maka na ọ bụ ejima abụọ ọ mụtara ọ sị eji anyị ahụlụ m asịla asị na eri ọdụ gị chukwu ejima otuto dịrị Jesu. And we think that it is when we obtain as we requested, as we prayed, then we have faith. No, it is believing that God is still there, present in our life, guiding our life, even when the results we are seeing immediately don't seem to correspond with the promise. The gospel is a continuation of the gospel of last Sunday. The story Jesus told about the rich farmer who was only thinking of himself. And at the end he said, I will build a big barn. Jesus told us that the man was a foolish man and advised his disciples, his apostles, told them that is what happens if a man is only thinking of the wealth of this world without thinking of being wealthy before God. Because your security is not guaranteed by what you own in this life. And it is in continuation of this discussion. Do not be afraid. Because God has promised you the kingdom. He has given you already the kingdom. So, do not pack up things. Believe in the kingdom. Believe you are going to a promised land, something greater than whatever you can have in this life, so that you will be free to serve God. Sell what you have. Give it out to the poor, so that you will not have anything disturbing you. There is something I find very disturbing here. When he told them to sell all they have and give alms, to get things that will last in heaven only, where nothing can destroy it. Inflation, no failure of banks or stock exchange, stock market. What you have stored in heaven through your life of generosity is secure. And your heart will be there because you are preparing for heaven. So that you will be ready. Any day the Lord comes for you, you have your free hands to go. What do I find disturbing there? Peter said, Lord, do you mean this parable for us or for everyone? Peter, Onyishinda apostle, si Jesu. Boy, anye sodinanda na gweha ke na gwandozo. It often happens that church leaders think that detachment, poverty, and almsgiving are for other people, not for them. That is why you find many Christian religious leaders living in wealth affluence and luxury when the people who contribute to that wealth and luxury are living in poverty? Because they think the teaching is for others, not for them. Otherwise, how do you explain sometimes you find some of our leaders, including even within the Catholic Church, people whom you can't explain the amount of money they are controlling and spending in the midst of so much poverty. The amount of power and fame they command through their wealth. Of course, they will always claim they are gathering it for the poor. Onye nwere 1 billion naira, nye poor people 10 million. No, Jadenigo, a very generous man. But are you not like Peter here? And Jesus answers, now, who will be that steward who will be so trustworthy that he will always be ready? Ihe asa anyị na-etegide n'Chukwu na nzukọ abụghị anyị nwe. Bishops, priests, religious leaders, what has been given to you on trust is not yours. Much is expected of you. That is to be used for the work of God and for the poor. Otherwise, and this is the problem, Jesus said, blessed is that servant who knows the will of the master. Because anybody who knows and does not act, nsobudo. The servant who knows what his master wants, but has not even started carrying it out, will receive many lashes, many strokes of the lash. Oyega Amaga, the one who does not know, has less blame. But much has been given to you, Peter, so a lot is being expected of you. Much has been given to you on trust, you leader. A lot is expected of you. One of my sisters, Saramo, itariha Jesus neji kodijapia. Obuyana jekojapia ya so nwere ndi je nyeni eka. Maka na obukware ya na jekojapia ya eka jekoja gbajie o. Maka na nda japia de tin karira kari bido na ndishi. Pamsia Jerunwayo marry na gwam like this. And it is true. Nda jekojapia itaria bido na anywa. You remember what God told the prophet Jeremiah? Cleanse my church, my temple, beginning from the sanctuary. Because our faith in God has given us the knowledge, our faith in Christ has given us true knowledge about what life should be. We know. And if you know and you don't live according to your knowledge, your condemnation is worse. And if you don't know, you are blind, leading the blind. What business then do you have in leadership if you are ignorant of the will of God, if you are ignorant of the commandments, and you have knowledge that comes from faith? You know, we normally say that, following St. Thomas, that seeing is believing. And our Father Mellitus Osai, who says that with God, believing is seeing. Because when you believe, He will show you certain things in a clearer way. You will understand life better. You will understand that this world is not home. These people in the Old Testament understood that they were sojourners and in a journey towards another place. ndị gụnwa bụ nwa nke Chukwu onye otu Kristi n'ime nzukọ. What does your faith teach you? What do you know about God, about the world, about yourself, about the future that will affect your life and make your life responsible? Okwukwe anyị toshiri ime ma anyị mara ihe karịa bie ndụ ka ndị mara ihe nwere okwukwe. There is a knowledge that comes from faith that should make our life responsible. If we Christians are still living as if everything there was to our faith were in this life, then as St. Paul says, we are the most miserable of all creatures. Today, you even find Christian leaders, including those of us who are bishops and priests, worried about their old age. And you find them, some of them may be tempted not to be clear with the property or finances of the church because they are worried about their old age. How do you know you will live till tomorrow? But the same thing also for all those human beings who are stealing public funds because they want to save for the future and for their children. Who tells you that there is a tomorrow for these children, for this money? Now, it is a life of faith that gives us true knowledge about the essentials in life and makes us to live responsibly, because at the end, there is reward and there is punishment. But at the end, God is patient. Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 and 2 concludes this litany of our fathers in faith in the Old Testament. After having listed all those people, the author of the letter to the Hebrews says, now, since you have this large crowd of witnesses, since we have this large crowd of witnesses, let us then reject sin and concentrate on our race for the kingdom, focusing attention on Jesus Christ, who is the foundation of the fulfillment of our faith. N'ime ndụ ndị vụrụ anyị ụzọ gbabanye ọsọ ya bụ okwukwe ka anyị bile ekwele ka ihe anyị na-akpakọ na-achụkọ n'ụwa bụrụ ya aja n'afọ anyị ọsọ ahụ anyị gbakọ. Because honestly, you have even no guarantee that the material things you acquire in this world will remain for you till the next year, because anything can happen and you will lose all. And the Father Ben Abo says that the greatest tragedy for a Christian is that after the struggle of this life, you lose heaven. That is the greatest tragedy. Since you know you may lose everything you have acquired in this world while you are still alive, live in such a way that at the end you will not lose heaven.